There's a very old joke where a guy says, "My dad was in the army and single-handedly killed 12 Japanese soldiers." Unfortunately, that was in 1954. For those who graduated from California public schools and know nothing about history, the joke is that the war with Japan ended in 1945, so this soldier was going to jail, not getting a medal. But the U.S. did invade Japan in 1954, sort of. Now, even you California kids may have heard of the February 1945 invasion of Japan's Iwo Jima Island by the U.S. Navy and Marines. You've probably at least seen the famous photo of Marines raising the flag on Iwo Jima's Mount Suribachi, and if you really follow history, you've seen the Sands of Iwo Jima John Wayne movie and Clint Eastwood's 2 Iwo Jima films. Iwo Jima arguably was the worst of the worst, and perhaps other than Pearl Harbor, the best known battle of the Pacific War. But what about that 1954 invasion of Iwo Jima? 9 years after the end of World War II, a reported 60,000 sailors and Marines, 100 ships, and 200 aircraft attacked Iwo Jima, with the 3rd Marine Division landing on the black sand beaches on March 21, 1954. But unlike the 1945 landing, no one was shooting this time, not real bullets anyway. 2nd Battalion, 4th Marines, under the command of Colonel W.O. Thompson, played the enemy, what the military calls aggressor forces. The whole 1954 landing was officially known as MarDivLex, Marine Division Landing Exercise 1-54, headed by Vice Admiral Alfred M. Pride, commander of the 7th Fleet on flagship USS Wisconsin. MarDivLex 1-54 has been likened to a reenactment, an activity that usually conjures up images of a small group of civilians putting on historical uniforms and gathering in a park to pretend they are airborne rangers. 60,000 reenactors has to be a record. Besides the 3rd Marine Division, the invasion included Task Force 90, Cruiser Division 1, Transport Division 13, and Carrier Division 5 with the USS Oriskany. A massive exercise, as much about needed public relations as it was training. The 3rd Division under Major General Robert H. Papper made its landing after Navy and Marine pilots simulated a naval bombardment of Iwo Jima. Corporal David B. Tucker wrote, "We landed on the southwest beach by Mount Suribachi, just across a narrow strip of beach from where the actual landing took place. 3,600 Marines landed in the first wave at 1 p.m. Sunday Iwo time. That was 11 p.m. Saturday Eastern time. Another 12,000 hit the beach after that first wave." Corporal Tucker, with item company 3rd Marines, wrote, "On D-Day +2, our battalion became the helicopter maneuver force of the division, and we boarded choppers and headed north to seize the airfield. That accomplished, we headed out for Hill 362, which had been the main line of the Japanese defense system, and was the scene of the bloodiest fighting of the Iwo campaign. The area around Hill 362, he wrote, is a sulfur bed. In fact, you could heat a can of sea rations by burying them in the ground," he said. After the exercise was complete, Tucker wrote, "Some 16,000 of us participated in a memorial service at the foot of Mount Suribachi as the American flag was raised atop of it." Just 1 month before that 1954 memorial service, the groundbreaking ceremony was held in the Washington, D.C. area for what we call the Iwo Jima Memorial, a giant sculpture based on the World War II flag raising on Mount Suribachi. Officially, it's the Marine Corps War Memorial in Arlington, Virginia, and it got a lot of attention when it was unveiled in 1954 and has become an icon of the Marine Corps. While the sculpture quickly gained national and worldwide recognition, the 1954 mock invasion of Iwo Jima and the 16,000-man memorial service faded into relative obscurity. If you do a Google search, you will find just a relative few pages with any sort of details about MarDivLex 1-54. The Marines and their parent department, the Navy, certainly would have been hoping for a big public relations impact from this return to Iwo Jima. In 1954, the Marines were coming off the hell of the Korean War, a war that began about the same time President Harry Truman was promoting a plan that could have killed the Marine Corps as an independent fighting force. Truman was followed in office by former Army General Dwight D. Eisenhower, who, in letters to friends, said he wanted the Marine Corps abolished. In the early 1950s, the American public had a bad taste for the Korean War and sometimes its warriors, Marine Division Landing Exercise 1-54 on Iwo Jima could have reminded the politicians of the Marines' capabilities and could have reminded the public that the Marines had been their heroes just 9 years before, but that didn't seem to happen. We would hope the landing was good training because it was a public relations flop. Luckily, that Marine Corps War Memorial unveiling in November '54 did provide a much-needed PR boost. Amphibious military landings go back to at least 1200 BC during the Trojan War, but after more than 3,000 years, have we seen the last of these waterborne landings? Does modern technology make slow boats a bad way to fight a war? The 1954 mock invasion of Iwo Jima landed about 16,000 troops, many times more than were landed during the Vietnam War's Operation Starlight. Unless China decides to use an amphibious landing to help them invade Taiwan, it's hard to imagine any nation ever again landing 16,000 troops on the beach, whether for combat or training or public relations. Krusty Bob, over and out.